The CEO called the police on a single dad she thought was fake, then his 50% stake was revealed. The expensive glass doors of the headquarters slammed open as security guards surrounded a tired-looking single father holding his little daughter's hand. Employees stopped typing, phones were lifted, and whispers spread across the massive lobby. Standing at the center of it all was CEO Vanessa Holloway, her eyes cold with suspicion as she pointed directly at the man and ordered someone to call the police. She was absolutely convinced he was a fraud trying to sneak into a billion-dollar company. But 10 minutes later, a single document would fall onto the marble floor and reveal a truth so shocking that every person in that building would fall silent. The man she humiliated wasn't a stranger at all. He owned half the company. Before we begin, if you believe in kindness, second chances, and treating every person with respect regardless of their appearance, please take a moment to like this video, comment where you're watching from, share this story with someone you care about, and subscribe to the channel. Echoes the Stories. Your support helps these meaningful stories reach more hearts around the world. It was a bright weekday morning, and the city was alive with movement. The sky was clear blue, sunlight reflected beautifully across the towering buildings, and thousands of people rushed to work carrying coffee cups and briefcases. Among them was 38-year-old Rowan Mercer, a single father whose life had changed dramatically over the past 5 years. He wasn't dressed like a wealthy businessman. Instead, he wore simple navy pants, an old gray button-up shirt with rolled sleeves, and comfortable shoes that had clearly been used for years. Beside him walked his 7-year-old daughter, Nora, carrying a small pink backpack and smiling innocently. Rowan had not always lived this way. Years ago, he had co-founded Holloway Dynamics alongside his late friend Arthur Holloway. Together they had built an innovative technology company from a tiny garage into a multinational corporation worth billions. They had made a promise that their friendship would always matter more than money. Unfortunately, life had different plans. Arthur passed away unexpectedly after a serious illness, leaving his daughter Vanessa to inherit his responsibilities. After Arthur's death, Rowan disappeared from public life entirely. Grief had consumed him, and shortly afterward, his wife passed away due to an unexpected health complication, leaving him to raise Nora alone. He stepped away from meetings, media appearances, and corporate events. He chose his daughter over boardrooms and accepted a quiet life away from attention. Meanwhile, Vanessa transformed into a successful but emotionally distant CEO. She was intelligent, disciplined, and fiercely protective of her father's legacy. But somewhere along the way, she developed a dangerous habit of judging people by their appearance. She knew about Rowan's name from old documents, but she had never actually met him. To her, he was simply a forgotten signature buried in company history. That morning, Rowan had finally decided to return. Not for money, but because he felt his old friend's company was losing its original values. He wanted to honor Arthur's dream before it was too late. As Rowan entered the lobby holding Nora's hand, several employees looked at him curiously. The lobby itself was breathtaking, filled with green plants, polished marble floors, and giant digital screens displaying company achievements. Nora looked around with amazement. Vanessa happened to be walking through the lobby after finishing an executive meeting. She noticed the pair instantly. Her eyes narrowed. She saw an ordinary man carrying a worn leather folder and a child instead of an expensive suit and luxury accessories. Without asking questions, assumptions flooded her mind. She approached them with authority. Employees began slowing their pace to watch. Rowan politely introduced himself and explained he needed access to the executive conference room. Vanessa's expression hardened immediately. She assumed he was another opportunist trying to exploit the company's success. Without allowing him to explain further, she instructed security to escort him outside. Rowan remained calm. Nora tightened her grip on his hand, sensing tension around her. The little girl looked up at Vanessa with confusion because her father had always taught her that adults should be kind to one another. Vanessa, however, doubled down. She ordered someone to contact the police because she believed Rowan was impersonating a company executive. Employees exchanged uncomfortable glances, but nobody dared challenge their CEO. Rowan simply stood there quietly. Years of hardship had taught him patience. He gently reassured Nora that everything would be all right. The police arrived within minutes. As one officer approached, Rowan opened his old leather folder and carefully removed several documents. One paper accidentally slipped from his hands and floated onto the floor. An older board member named Gregory Hale happened to be passing by at that exact moment. The second he saw the document, his face turned pale. He bent down, picked it up, and stared in disbelief. His hands trembled. It was an original ownership certificate. 50% ownership. Rowan Mercer. The co-founder. The legal owner of half the company. The entire lobby froze. Gregory looked directly at Vanessa. His voice shook as he announced the truth. An overwhelming silence filled the building. Vanessa's face drained of color. Every employee stared at Rowan in shock. The police officers immediately stepped backward. No one knew what to say. For several long seconds, all that could be heard was the soft hum of the building's air conditioning. Nora squeezed her father's hand and smiled softly, unaware of the significance of what had just happened. Vanessa felt her heart sink. She suddenly remembered seeing Rowan's name countless times throughout her father's journals. Arthur had written about him constantly. He called Rowan his brother, his partner, and the person he trusted most in the world. And yet she had called the police on him. Embarrassment quickly turned into guilt. She apologized immediately, but Rowan didn't react with anger. Instead, he looked around at the employees. He noticed something else entirely. Everyone looked exhausted. People were afraid to speak openly. The company atmosphere felt tense and lifeless. This wasn't the dream he and Arthur had built together. The original vision had always been to create a workplace where people felt valued, inspired, and respected. Over the next few hours, Rowan joined a leadership meeting. He listened carefully instead of criticizing anyone. He learned that employees were under enormous pressure. Many were afraid of making mistakes because Vanessa demanded perfection every single day. While her intentions were good, her leadership style had slowly built invisible walls between management and workers. That afternoon, Rowan walked through every department with Nora beside him. He spoke to receptionists, janitors, designers, engineers, and interns. He remembered people's names. He thanked them personally. The atmosphere gradually changed. People smiled more. They stood taller. Some employees even became emotional because no executive had spoken to them that way in years. Vanessa quietly followed behind. For the first time, she truly observed what leadership looked like. It wasn't fear. It wasn't authority. It was humanity. Later that day, Rowan found himself standing in Arthur's old office. Sunlight poured through giant windows, illuminating framed photographs that had been untouched for years. One picture showed Arthur and Rowan laughing inside their tiny garage during the company's early days. Vanessa stood beside him silently. Her eyes filled with tears. She admitted she had become obsessed with protecting success and had forgotten to protect people. She confessed that losing her father at a young age had made her afraid of appearing weak. So she built walls around herself. She thought respect had to be demanded. But she was wrong. Rowan smiled gently. He understood pain very well. Life had taken both his wife and his best friend away. Yet he had learned something valuable. Pain should soften the heart, not harden it. Over the following months, remarkable changes happened throughout Holloway Dynamics. Employee wellness programs were introduced. Working hours became healthier. Recognition programs rewarded kindness and teamwork. Managers were encouraged to listen before speaking. The company's productivity increased naturally. People began enjoying their jobs again. Vanessa changed as well. She started eating lunch with employees instead of dining alone. She learned the names of security guards. She thanked custodians every morning. She even volunteered at local schools with Nora. Her transformation inspired everyone. One sunny afternoon several months later, the entire company gathered outside for a celebration. Children played games in the courtyard. Music floated through the air. Families laughed together. The atmosphere felt warm and alive. Vanessa stood on stage holding a microphone. She looked at thousands of employees and spoke honestly. She admitted her mistake publicly. She told everyone that she had once judged a man because of his appearance. She explained that doing so almost caused her to lose one of the most important people connected to her father's legacy. Then she thanked Rowan. Not because he owned half the company, but because he reminded everyone what true wealth looked like. It wasn't money. It wasn't status. It was compassion. As applause echoed through the courtyard, Rowan looked down at Nora. She was smiling brighter than ever. That smile alone made every difficult year worthwhile. If this story has touched your heart so far, please like this video, leave a comment, share it with someone who needs this reminder today, and subscribe to Echoes the Stories. Your support allows these powerful stories to inspire millions more people. Special request: comment below with the words, "Kindness sees beyond appearances," if you believe every person deserves respect before judgment. As the day came to an end, Rowan looked toward the sunset-colored sky and felt a sense of peace he had not experienced in years. His friend's dream was alive again. His daughter was happy. And an entire company had learned one unforgettable lesson. Sometimes, the most important people walk into our lives wearing ordinary clothes, carrying invisible burdens, and asking for nothing except a chance to be heard. The world becomes a better place the moment we stop judging appearances and start seeing hearts instead. Because the person you dismiss today may be the very person who changes your life tomorrow. And sometimes, the greatest power in the world is not ownership, wealth, or authority. It is simply choosing kindness before judgment.